I'm Natalie, and welcome to the Stride Sisters podcast. On today's episode, it's time to talk about the Springtime Surprise Weekend 2026 event guide. It's definitely bittersweet to discuss the last event guide of the 2025-2026 season, but it just means that there's another race weekend to make those memories. I'll cover everything from expo logistics to the races themselves, plus the yoga rendezvous to close out a magical season. So, lace up your shoes and step into the magic with us. Hello. Welcome back to another week and the last event guide episode of the season. I cannot believe that we're here. Happy spring. Officially now. We got all kinds of season going on up in here. So we've gone from 90 degrees over the weekend to chilly again, but also there was snow last week. So there's a lot going on in terms of the weather up here. Grass is starting to green a little. So hashtag lawn pod, sod pod is, going to be returning. But it's so exciting that we're officially in spring. We're over the hump of winter. I know that means we're probably still going to have some wintry weather, but that's okay because, the days are getting longer. We have more sunshine. I don't know. I'm feeling good about it. At least I'm going to tell myself that. In terms of training, I did my first run since Princess Half Marathon weekend, and it was special, to say the least. I went out late morning on my 95-degree Saturday, so that impacted things a little bit, but I can tell my body just still does need that recovery time. It just is what it is. So I'm trying to not be a little down on it. I gotta say, and this will be really funny later if something in my situation and circumstance changes, but I am so glad I am not training for a fall marathon this year because one run where it was in the 80s at the end of it, because I didn't wait until it got to 90, about took me out. So thrilled. I guess I will be training for a marathon this summer while I am getting ready for dopey training. But, we're in lower mileage land for a while until I do something dumb and register for a race in the fall. But until I do that, I am a free agent right now. Isn't that exciting? But sculpting and soaring is going well. I feel like I'm really, getting into a groove with it, which again, workouts are going to change. So that always changes up stuff. But I really feel like I'm getting into a groove with the strength training. I feel like I really am feeling a difference. I'm feeling a lot more confident, most importantly, with how things are going, what I'm able to do, what I'm able to push myself to do. And sometimes they are little shaky reps, but I am trying to make sure that I always up my weight. I don't know. I'm feeling really confident about that. I am really happy with the progress. And I'm also glad that I am taking this time to do the weightlifting. And, I keep saying I want to miss running. And then I go on a Saturday 5-miler and I'm like, ugh. But it'll be fine. It's been good. It's been really good to have this in my routine. And I'm really pumped and excited. And I don't know. I'm enjoying doing Sculpt and Soar for sure. We got 23 days until Springtime Surprise Weekend 2026. Holy cow, that's coming up. 212 days until Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend 2026. Your shirt deadline is next week. So it's on April 1st. So I will talk to you again before then. But if you are looking to modify your shirt size for your Brooks shirts, or are trying to, you just put something in when you were registering for Wine and Dine because you just wanted to get her done, make sure you check that. Check the sizing chart that's in there and measure and get your size changed. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of at the mercy at the expo of what shirts are left in terms of the shirt exchange. So check your size for your shirt that you put in. Proof of time deadline is June 1st. So that's 2 months away. It is coming. And kind of keep an eye out on that if you are trying to run a late spring race. Good luck. And that'll be the last time that you can also update your estimated finish time. So if you are running the 5K, 10K, where you just put an estimated pace per mile, or you have put in an estimated finish time, that's also, it's not just for people who have proof of time, it's for everybody. That's when that little box grays out and you can't edit it anymore. 288 days until Marathon Weekend 2027. The proof of time deadline is on August 3rd, 2026. Shirt deadline was not in the email when they sent you your congrats for registering. So I'll keep you posted when I know when it is. And we have 338 days until Princess Half Marathon Weekend 2027. Our Club Run Disney registration will be May 26th of 2026. General registration will follow 1 week after on June 2nd, 2026. And that feels like a long ways away, but it actually isn't as far away as it appears. Crazy town, actually, because if we go by the merit of usually it's about a week or two before Club Run Disney registration, I think we could have our themes in about 5 to 6 weeks. That's crazy, but exciting. Obviously, I am a honk for Princess, so I love to, chit-chat a little bit of Princess. Also, speaking of summer in June, we have the Run Disney virtual series. We still are awaiting a theme announcement, but our general public on sale is on April 7th of 2026. So that is coming up quickly. We probably will get the themes, I'd say this week or next week. We kind of have to, but we'll get the themes shortly. And I'm excited to see what they are. But kind of keep that in mind if you are really like doing the summer virtual series. I think it's a great way to keep yourself engaged and involved during the summer training months and have something fun to get at the end of it. And I can't wait to see what the themes are. They were awesome last year. On to our Disney news. Josh D'Amaro has taken over as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. So goodbye to Bob Iger and hello to Josh D'Amaro. I'm going to chat a little bit about how Marathon Weekend registration went. I was on helping get some people for the 5K and then also a buddy of mine for the half because my queue went quickly. Just an observation that I had was that the queue that I opened prior to registration actually dropping was one that basically didn't move. But the one I opened right at 10 o'clock, and it wasn't even really right at 10 o'clock. I think if I look down at my Garmin, I'm in Central Time, so it would be 9 o'clock anyway. The one that I did then was the one that actually went pretty quickly. I was about to close the tab out because I had some meetings that morning and it had 4 minutes to go. So definitely interesting that since they've set up this new waiting room, what's going on now, it could just have been luck, right? Where maybe before it got to 10:01, it was still putting everybody into the randomized waiting room and not in order. I don't know. I will say, if you are disappointed because you didn't get the registration you wanted, totally hear you. Remember, charity options do exist. A lot of them have been going, though. So I'd say reach out to your organizations that you care about. Definitely, I would say it's a good idea to be passionate about the organization that you are fundraising for. So it makes the fundraising easier. It makes your connection to the story a lot easier and also makes the miles very worthwhile. I would also say that usually we get a bigger bib drop sometime in the summer, and this isn't something that they announce. This isn't something that's, for sure, but just keep your eye out on it. And there you might get lucky and just get your bib that way. But kind of, I'd say until it's like, you know, too late for you to start marathon training or it's, getting really, really close to marathon weekend, I'd say, I don't know, you've got a shot to pick up a bib for the race that you're looking for. Last week, we got news that of the next Disney Cruise Line ship, it's going to be named the Believe. It's part of the Wish class. And its motif is going to be about promise and possibilities. And this is a direct quote from Disney. From the mystical worlds of Encanto and Frozen, to the wishing wells of Snow White, to the depths of the sea with Moana and the Little Mermaid. And obviously, one specific IP just stopped me in my little tracks there. If we get a dopey bar on this ship, if we get something like that, I am done dead. I will be there so fast. Just even like a dopey statuette, they would have to bring back the Castaway Challenge. I mean, like, no, but it would be cool if they did. It would be honestly amazing. I can't wait to see, every ship, it seems like it's even prettier and prettier. And, then they go in and refresh the old ships and stuff. So I can't wait to see the news from this as they develop the ship. It is expected to debut in late 2027. So honestly, so exciting. So that could mean an anniversary Castaway Challenge. That's all I'm saying. If it's late 2027 and marathon weekend with the anniversary in 2028, I rest my case. Something that's coming a little bit sooner than that is the Savannah Bananas are coming to Disneyland on Thursday, March 26th of 2026. So this week, 2 days from now on day of drop. There's a lot going on for the bananas. Disney is going bananas for the bananas, which I love this energy. There's going to be a merchandise pop-up in downtown Disney from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. near the Downtown Disney Live stage. There's going to be a special performance by the Bananas at 10 a.m. in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland Park, and a cavalcade at 12:30 p.m. through Disneyland Park. But don't worry, the Bananas are going to go to California Adventure as well. So we got a little crosstown classic, cross-park action here. There's going to be a performance at 1:30 p.m. in the World of Color viewing area in California Adventure. And meet and greet opportunities with select Bananas and Indianapolis Clowns players begin at 2:15 in the Hyperion Adventures Theater courtyard in California Adventure. This will be virtual queued. So just a little refresher, especially because we have little virtual queue news coming later in the episode. At 9 a.m. Pacific time, you can request to join the virtual queue through the Disneyland app. You have to have a theme park reservation for California Adventure with one park ticket or a park hopper ticket. So pass holders or Magic Key holders also can do that. You'll get a boarding group when you join the queue. And when it's called, they'll send a push notification. You're going to scan a ticket or entry code to pick up a wristband. You'll return to the location when the greeting opportunities begin at 2:15 to exchange high fives and snap photos with select players. It says actually in the Disney Parks blog thing that virtual queue boarding groups are extremely limited and available while supplies last. Extremely limited. Extremely. I don't think I've ever seen that specification before. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be very, very limited. And wristbands will only be distributed to guests who get the virtual queue. You can't sell the cash for the no cash value. Don't sell the wristband. And then procedures are subject to change without notice. And they're playing at Angels Stadium in Anaheim on Friday, March 27th against the Indianapolis Clowns. They also listed a bunch of different banana treats in the Disney Parks blog announcement, which I thought was just delightful. Some of them are seasonal with the Food and Wine Festival. Some of them are available year round, but if you want to get your banana on, there's a bunch of ways for you to do that, which I love. I'd be nothing if I didn't have a fun fact. On this day in 2002, Randy Newman's If I Didn't Have You from Disney's Monsters, Inc. is awarded an Oscar for Best Song at the Academy Awards, held at the Kodak Theater. After 15 nominations, it's Newman's first Oscar win. Although nominated for Best Animated Picture, Monsters, Inc. is edged out by Shrek. I couldn't help but put the last part in because, Shrek gonna Shrek. Donkey. Okay, and on this day in 2006, Hannah Montana debuts on Disney Channel with the premiere episode, Lily, Do You Want to Know a Secret? So also, happy Hannah Montana anniversary special date to all who celebrate. I can't wait to watch later. Probably a little later this week, to be honest with you, but maybe tonight. All right, it's like a final countdown. Do. Because it's time to talk about the very last event guide of this Run Disney season. It's crazy to be here because, you kick off the season, you get that first event guide, and that's even super duper exciting. And then it's like, oh, the end of the season seems so far away. And then all of a sudden it's here. That's nuts. It's incredible. It's awesome. And for those wondering, I do not have a bib at this point in time. I think that the chances of it happening are getting lower and lower by the day, but that's also okay. I'm still so excited. I'm gonna be sitting in my FOMO at home of everybody who is down in Florida experiencing the race weekend, getting to make those memories all together, celebrating the power of friendship, and 5 years of Springtime Surprise. All right, into it we go. The featured charity of the weekend is Make-A-Wish of Central and Northern Florida. Make-A-Wish grants over 40 wishes a day to children who have critical illnesses. And they believe in the power of positive thinking and a positive experience for better outcomes for children. So they work their hardest to grant wishes. Disney and Make-A-Wish have had a partnership since 1980, granting over 170,000 wishes for children. Make-A-Wish is an incredible organization, and I really, really encourage you to look into what they do. If you're able to donate, they're a wonderful, wonderful organization and do a lot of really important work for children and helping them keep up morale when they're going through something that's so difficult and, help them get a little bit of relief. Let them feel like a kid again. I'm going to start with the expo. Our hours, Thursday, April 16th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Friday, April 17th from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday, April 18th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Your check-in pass will be available on Monday, April 13th, 2026. Bring your printed or digital check-in pass along with a valid photo ID to get your bib. Make sure you've signed your waiver in your account. Otherwise, you're going to need to fill out a paper one at the expo. If you are international, the paper one is your only option. If you are not international, make sure you go in and get that waiver signed so that you aren't waiting in that line for the waiver. You will have a virtual queue for merchandise on Thursday, April 16th. The virtual queue will open at 8:30 a.m. and at 1 p.m., but you can only join one time per day. You can have up to 6 guests who you are linked to on My Disney Experience in one group. And you'll be able to see both the Brooks shoes and the merchandise when you have your virtual queue. So it is all just in one, unlike Disneyland events where it's 2 separate ones. It's all in one building. I can't wait to see what the shoes are. Ooh, that's going to spike the FOMO. Transportation begins 30 minutes prior to expo opening and ends 30 minutes after it closes. It's all through a big charter bus, not necessarily your Disney transportation. If you're staying at a Disney resort, you will have a big old sign in the lobby that can help you and guide you to where you're supposed to go and what the bus is, and a volunteer or a worker that will help you get on the correct bus. If you're in club, you will have to get yourself to the expo for your club shopping, a window that is before the regular expo opens up. You either drive yourself. I usually end up taking an Uber. One note is that you must pick your bib up the day before your race, and you cannot pick up a bib for someone else unless they are a minor. So you have to get your bib the day before. So if you're running the 5K, doing either the challenge or the 5K standalone, you need to get your bib on Thursday, etc. Little bit about the expo map using the government names of the different buildings. The State Farm Fieldhouse is where you get your bib, and there are character greetings and game day photo ops also listed. That's where you also they've had the big castle out the last 2 weekends, which has been pretty cool for pictures. Maybe won't have it this time, but I don't know. Maybe they will. And this is where runner relations is, athletes with disabilities, and Run Disney account services. So when you're in this building, get all that done. The athletic center is where you get your shirts and the other different vendors. So there's a shirt exchange in here. The distance photo number ops are in here, as well as some food and beverage, but not our beloved beer cups. Not that they do or don't really actually confirm that at this anymore, but some notes about some notable vendors here in the athletic center. Crowned Athletics is going to be back, so kind of head over to their page to learn a little bit about their virtual queue process. But there's a lot of different vendors that we normally see. Brooks Running, Garmin, Sparkly Soul Shocks. There's a Run Disney showcase. You're going to get your shirt in here after you walk through all the vendors. And then the Advent Health Arena is where the Hunger Games, aka merch, is. The Club Run Disney Platinum Member Lounge is on the second floor. And this is where the Charity Welcome Center is. If you've gotten an email from your charity, if you have something to go pick up at the Charity Welcome Center, it is like in this building, but it's like under the staircase, kind of heading into it. So not necessarily like it's not like a wall of the room where we have the, big arena. It's a separate area. One more note is that coast to coast, your expo check-in pass will note if you are eligible, and qualified participants will receive a wristband with their bib at the expo if it is the weekend you're earning your coast to coast. So you will have had to have done Disneyland back and the Disneyland half or Dumbo double there back in January. And this is now the second weekend that you're running, meaning your Run Disney, your Walt Disney World race running. After completing the Springtime Surprise 10-miler on Sunday, you're going to have to go to the Coast to Coast Challenge area with the wristband to receive your medal. So head on over. They are pretty good about having signage to direct you to where challenges go. All right, let's talk courses, the running part. We have our beautiful, lovely, dovely 5K course. We've got one water stop and no dedicated medical stops, but people will be on bikes kind of following around on this course. We start in the Epcot parking lot. We loop around behind near Test Track and then enter the park in that space. And then we make our full world or loop around World Showcase, which is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it. And our water stops near the American Adventure, which is also where you can find some good bathrooms. And keep on heading through World Showcase. When you hit mile 2, head then into Future or World Celebration, loop around, and then I definitely recommend that you stop for the Spaceship Earth photo on your way toward the finish line. The line will usually look pretty long. It's never as bad as it looks. And you can, it moves really fast because it's really like a snap and go. Sometimes people will, get one with their buddy and then their buddy walks out, or one alone and then they do a jump shot. But it goes really, really quickly. Definitely recommend because it's absolutely beautiful. They'll keep Spaceship Earth all lit up. And then you are on your way to the finish line. You know what I just realized? Now, I don't want to be so dramatic as to say it's the end of the 5K as we know it, but it is, with the increased capacity coming this fall, this is kind of the end of what we currently know as the 5Ks at Disney. So we don't know what it's going to come back, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Wow. Yeah, that's wild to think about how, I don't think that we're going to be looking at that drastic of differences, but I don't know. So, a cheers and a toast to the 5K, and all the changes that are coming to that with next season. On to the 10K course. We've got 3 water stops, 2 medical stops. There's one right before mile 2 and around like 3.7, kind of near the Swan and Dolphin. So as you run out, you run near the yacht, and you run through the boardwalk, then you're kind of going up around that hill. That's where your second medical stop is. Again, there will be bikers going through. And this is our standardized 10K course. We love her. She's fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to do this 10K course yet, you are in Epcot by mile 2, which is incredible. And got that elbow room kind of going out like on the highway portion to start. You make your loop around World Showcase. Then you head out to the Crescent Lake area, loop around the boardwalk, loop around the Yacht and Beach Club, head on back into Epcot to finish your loop of World Showcase. And you kind of do that like reverse route behind Living with the Land and the Land Pavilion, and then head back into Epcot. You will have your opportunity to loop around and go back near Spaceship Earth. So if you miss your photo stop the day before, definitely get it this day. There is almost always one, not when, if there's inclement weather, that's one thing, but it's a great, great, great course. And I'm so excited for you if you're experiencing it for the first time. All right. I'm going to talk about the 10 miler course next. So it looks deceivingly similar to prior 10 miler courses, but it's a little bit different. Yeah, the bones of the 10 miler course are definitely the same, but there are some slight differences, but I think that they're actually overall positive. The 10 miler course starts with a little bit more of like a loop around toward the highway, and then you go into Epcot. You're entering behind between Mexico and Norway to hit mile 2. Now, previously, you were actually on your way out of Epcot by mile 2. So I think this is kind of cool. You have your American Adventure water stop, and really you're out on the boardwalk or on mile 3, which is awesome. The water stop is before the International Squeezeway, as we call it. So that path between the boardwalk and Hollywood Studios. And this is reminiscent of the Wine and Dine, the adjustments to the Wine and Dine course from the fall when you get into Hollywood Studios. So you're hitting mile 4 by the time or before you're even back into Hollywood Studios. And you really make like a loop around Hollywood Studios. You run past the carcass of the Muppets, which, maybe it's for the best I'm not running this race, so I don't have to be sad. And you do an amazing loop around Galaxy's Edge, or into Galaxy's Edge, and then into Toy Story Land before you then kind of cut back, and you almost are running parallel to the other part of the course because you're hitting mile 5 really in front of the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Again, this is really great in terms of us having like a lot more park time, because previously we were on the highway, like on that down curve when we hit mile 5. So we've squeezed in, yes, it's a little bit more highway toward the start, but I feel like we've squeezed in like pretty much all we can do in Hollywood Studios, especially considering that the animation courtyard is closed at the moment. So I don't know. I think that this is awesome because really you're hitting where what used to be mile 5 is mile 6 on this course. So kind of when you're coming down off that overpass, kind of that downward kind of curve down onto some straightaway, that's mile 6, not mile 5. So I think it's awesome in terms of then, you're really just moving right along. You do have some highway time, which is great for kind of a little bit of elbow room. Your food stop is right before mile 7, which is followed by a water stop and a medical. And I will tally up how many medical stops that we have and water stops on the course. And we have our favorite little, banked curve into little overpassy area that we love to hate. No, we have that it's like a staple of every Run Disney course. And by mile 9, you're in the parking area heading back into Epcot, which is awesome. And you don't kind of slingshot around Figment. You come almost right in near the Seas Pavilion, have a little bit smaller of a dip into World. You don't really even go all the way into World Showcase. You stick around in the World Celebration Gardens area, and then you do loop back around near Spaceship Earth before you're headed on out to your finish line. It's awesome. I think it's a great course. Again, a little FOMO that I'm not experiencing, or a little bit of FOMO. I think it's great though. I can't wait to hear some of the feedback from it. But some of the stats that y'all love to hear: there are 6 water and Powerade stops, 1 food stop, 5 medical stops on this course. So definitely fully loaded, nicely stocked. Now, Springtime Surprise does tend to be nice and toasty. So make sure that you are adequately hydrating. Make sure that if you want to carry your own water, do so. It definitely is a steamier part of the year for Florida, to say the least. So, well, getting into the steamy part. So make sure you are adequately hydrating. Make sure you're balancing that also with electrolytes as you go on. Okay, going to go into some resort transportation times. For all 3 races, it is recommended that you arrive no later than 4 a.m. For the 5K, resort to start, it's going to be 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Finish to resort is from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Now, you might be asking, Natalie, what do you do if you run like a Zoomy 5K and you're done by like 5:40? That's where the beer cups come in. But there's plenty of of the post race. There's the characters. There are the beer cups, which a lot more people are going for right away on 5K day. So they make sure that they get the cute weekend cup, and so it doesn't sell out on them. But plenty of entertainment and offerings that'll be in the parking lot. For the 10K, resort to start will also be from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Finish to resort is also 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And for the 10 miler, again, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. And your finish line to resort transportation will run from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. So it also says that participants and spectators should plan to arrive at Epcot by 4 a.m. for all of the races. Your corral opening times for every race will be 3:45 a.m. Now, let's talk our corral closing times. So, Corral A, every single day, will close at 4:45 a.m. But I'm going to list it by race just to keep things organized. So for the 5K, Corral A will close at 4:45 a.m. B closes at 4:50 a.m. C closes at 5 a.m. D closes at 5:15 a.m. And E closes at 5:30 a.m. For the 10K, A is going to close at 4:45 a.m. B closes at 4:50 a.m. C closes at 5 a.m. D closes at 5:15 a.m. E closes at 5:30 a.m. and F closes when the start line clears. So that'll be for every race. We only go down to F this time. For the 10 miler, A closes at 4:45 a.m. B closes at 4:50 a.m. C closes at 4:55 a.m. D closes at 4:10 a.m. E closes at 5:25 a.m. and F closes when the start line clears. So just a note about the corral closing time. If you arrive after your corral is closed, you will be asked to enter the next open corral. So if you get there at 4:59, you're going to be going to B if you're supposed to be in A. You can always voluntarily drop back a corral, by the way. All right, we're going to talk projected start times. They have all these cute little graphics that I just love. Just a note is that they are approximate. They may vary, and they're subject to change or may be affected by inclement weather or race operations delays. Listen to the announcements for any start time changes. For the 5K, if you are in Group A, your projected start times between 5 a.m. and 5:03 a.m. In Group B, your projected start times between 5:04 a.m. to 5:12 a.m. Group C, 5:13 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. Group D, 5:31 a.m. to 5:48 a.m. Group E, 5:49 a.m. to 6:03 a.m. And Group F, 6:04 a.m. to 6:19 a.m. Wow. Rolling into the 10K, which there was a reminder on this page. If bounding is poo, please wear pants, in case you needed the reminder. Our projected start times are actually identical for this one, but I am going to list them again. Group A, your projected start times between 5 a.m. and 5:03 a.m. B, 5:04 a.m. to 5:12 a.m. C, 5:13 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. D, 5:31 a.m. to 5:48 a.m. E, 5:49 a.m. to 6:03 a.m. And F, 6:04 a.m. to 6:19 a.m. Just a note is that Group B appears to be the cutoff for proof of time. So that is consistent with how it was last year. Rolling into the 10 miler, our projected start times, if you are in Corral A, it's still going to be between 5 a.m. and 5:03 a.m. In Corral B, it's 5:04 a.m. to 5:11 a.m. Corral C, 5:12 a.m. to 5:24 a.m. Corral D, 5:25 a.m. to 5:42 a.m. Corral E, 5:43 a.m. to 6:06 a.m. And Corral F, 6:07 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. That's nuts. I don't know the last time I saw a projected start time at 6:30 a.m. Crazy. Just a note about some race day information. All gear check is available for all races in the reunion area. Use the clear bag that you got at the expo, and there are usually extras around. If you forget your gear check, they go to Epcot Lost and Found at Guest Relations outside the park. If you lose something that's not clothing, go to that same Lost and Found. If you lose clothes, those are going to get donated. In terms of spectator information, the only official spectating areas are the start and finish line for all the races. But definitely, they allow you, if you are staying at the boardwalk, it is a quiet zone, so no kind of raucous cheering, but they allow people to stand out there. But don't expect to go park at the boardwalk and go, I'm going to cheer. They're not going to allow it. They do not tend to allow that. Runner tracking is helpful. It uses an estimate for your pace and when you get to the timing mats. So if you cross a 5K mark in 40 minutes, it'll estimate your pace so that you cross the 10K mark in another 40 minutes, so hour and 20 minutes. It's not GPS enabled though, so if your runner stops for a character photo or the bathroom or shenanigans or more shenanigans, it doesn't pick up on this until they hit another timing mat. So keep in contact with your runner via Find My Friends or Apple Maps or whatever to get the most accurate prediction of where they actually are. One more note actually specifically about the 10 miler is that the Galloway pace groups are now actually in the event guide. That started at Princess Half Marathon weekend this year, but we have the whole chart of what the corrals are and what the paces are. We don't get the pacer names anymore, but you're going to have what the finish is, the pace, and the run walk ratio that they use. So there are at least 2 pace groups per corral. At least this is how it is scheduled. Now, if there's inclement weather, if it's really humid, there is that protocol, that kind of hot weather protocol where sometimes all the pacers will, drop back an interval, drop back a group. So kind of keep an eye out on socials. Again, this is for the safety of both the pacers and all the participants in the event. There are at least 2 pace groups per corral though. So you can see which intervals, line up. If there is a pacer you want to run with who is back a corral, you can always jump back there. You cannot go forward a corral though. So kind of the recommendation is usually to start with, the one that's closest aligned to what your projected pace is. And then, you can always kind of ditch them. You can always, usually the pacers do encourage you to run on ahead. So that is exciting. The pacers will meet you either in the designated pace group meeting location, which is behind the kind of like finish line area as you're kind of going toward the reunion lot 1 hour before the corral closes, or you can just meet them in the corral. Now it's time for some race etiquette. Please pay attention to pre-race instructions, both digital and verbal. This is going to guide you through the race course and keep you safe. Wear your race bib on the front of your shirt and smile. Photographers will be taking pictures of you throughout the race. This is actually pretty important. I feel like on Facebook, I often see like, I don't know why nobody took a picture of me. And then sometimes it's because your bib is completely obstructed. That's how photographers, and that's how they key in your bib. Sometimes if say it's windy and like your bib kind of blows up a little bit, sometimes they can like figure out, they can get that finish line photo, or even if your bib's obstructed. You want to have it on your front so that you're easily identified as participating in the race and not like a bib banding the course, but also, that's how you're going to get your pictures. Please enter your correct start group. This will ensure you are running with people who have a similar pace. Run or walk no more than 2 abreast. Other athletes will want to get by you. If you're walking in a group, please start in the last start group. If you'd like to run with a friend and they are in a different start group, the faster of the two can move back to the slower start group. If you're stopping at a water station, move all the way over to the table. Grab water and then move away from the table so that others may get water too. Move to the side if someone behind you says, "Excuse me," or "Coming through." Or just awkwardly make like some noises at them if you are kind of running between 2 separate groups and you're trying to get by. Middle? Feel free to shout words of encouragement to other athletes. You will hear words of encouragement in return. That's like my favorite part of the races, just the vibe of like, there are certain things that stick with you, and there are certain people you like almost yo-yo sometimes too. And sometimes it's those moments where, you're going over that banked curve into the overpass and it's like, keep it up, you're doing it. Good job. Where those have stuck with me over time. So definitely keep an ear out for them and, encourage other people along the way. When you're approaching the finish line, you may see loved ones cheering you on. Please do not encourage anyone to join you in the finish line stretch. Your support team is important, but please communicate that the race course and finish line area is for registered participants and staff only. Enjoy the post-race refreshments, but remember that others will want to enjoy the goodies too. Especially because I think now 2 weekends in a row we've drank them dry of cider. And celebrate and have a great race. And that's all they wrote in terms of the races, but we are not done yet. Yoga is on Monday, April 20th, 2026. Yoga is at Hollywood Studios and has a little Stitch theme going for it. It's a 1-hour yoga experience. You get the yoga mat with carrying strap to take home and a bottled water. You get complimentary guest parking provided at Hollywood Studios between 4 a.m. and 4:45 a.m. You're going to have to bring a valid photo ID and completed yoga check-in pass to check-in. So another reminder here to sign that digital waiver online. Check-in begins at 4:15 a.m. at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Parking lot opens at 4. Security bag check also opens at 4. You must arrive prior to 4:45 a.m. for check-in. You will be exited from Hollywood Studios at the end of the event and need a valid theme park ticket reservation required to re-enter the park. Must be 10 or older to participate. And if you're 14, you must be accompanied by a guest 14 or older to participate. Now, yoga is still open if you're looking to register at the time of release. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about transportation. So transportation for yoga works a little bit differently than your standard Run Disney transportation where there's just that couple hour window where you can get on any bus. Yoga is one bus or you're Ubering or getting another ride. So there are 11 different routes with pickup locations, and I'm going to go through them all. Starting with the All-Stars on Route 1. At All-Star Movies in sports, your pickup time is at 3:30 a.m. At music, it is at 3:35 a.m. Route 2, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then the villas, both Jumbo and Kidani. Your pickup is at 3:30 a.m. Route 3 is Coronado Springs. All bus stops pick up at 3:30 a.m. Route 4 is the Polynesian, Shades of Green, the Grand Floridian, and then villas at Grand Floridian. So Everything but Shades of Green is a 3:30 a.m. pickup time. Shades of Green is at 3:35 a.m. Route 5. I keep switching between route and route. Sorry. All of these are at 3:30 a.m. So, both the cabins and campsites at Fort Wilderness are going to be at the Outpost bus stop. Also, it's Wilderness Lodge and the Contemporary Resort. So, everything is at 3:30 of those 3 different locations that I mentioned. Route 6 is the Port Orleans contingent. So, Port Orleans Resort and Riverside, all bus stops, 3:30 a.m. pickup. Route 7 is Old Key West and Saratoga Springs, both 3:30 a.m. pickups. Route 8, Disney's Caribbean Beach and the Riviera are going to be 3:30 a.m. pickups. It says Caribbean Beach. Oh man, I just route Caribbean that all bus stops for that resort. Route 9 is the Swalfin compound. The Swan Hotel's pickup outside the convention center is at 3:30 in the morning. The Dolphins is at 3:35 a.m. and the Swan Reserve is at 3:40 a.m. Route 10 is the Yacht Beach and Boardwalk. So, Yacht Club is outside the convention center 3:30 in the morning. Beach Club is at 3:35 a.m. at the Disney bus stop. The Boardwalk is outside the convention center at 3:30 a.m. And number 11 is Art of Animation and Pop Century. Your pickups are at 3:30 a.m. outside your respective resort at the special events bus stop. Again, this is the one pickup for each time. So, one pickup option that you have. Last little piece that I have here are some of the discounts that I noted in the event guide. Definitely take a time to leaf through these. Some stuff will change as we get closer and closer to the race weekend as well. But we have our standard 30% off honey stingers with code Disney30. Beach Life Boutique. If you make a purchase on the website you can use code RunDisney for 15% off, and that's for pickup during the expo. So they have gooders, they have different glitter makeup patches, they have clips, they have sparkle, they have unicorn snot, they have sparkly things. This is up my alley. But you have a lot of different options so you can make that purchase and then for pickup during the race weekend. And as I'm scrolling through, okay. Something that I really, really enjoy that looks like that is available here is I really like the unicorn snot sunscreen. It's sparkly glowy, so you will be all sparkly glowy. And and it's reef safe. It's like really good ingredients. I don't know. I really enjoy using it. And then again, I get to be all sparkly glowy while I'm sweaty. Especially, take care of your skin. It's usually this is a hot weekend. But Sparkle Athletic, you can use code BESTFRIENDS10 for 10% off all purchases until April 30th of 2026. And Mission, which is who provides the cooling towels if you are not rooting through the trash cans for them, like a certain data man I know. Run Disney 25 for 25% off cooling towels and other accessories. There are other accessories that they have on that website. But keep an eye out on the event guide, especially as the event gets closer. Sometimes we get a little bit more information. I'm going to keep looking through it and update accordingly as I see things update as we get closer and closer to the weekend. But guys, that's all she wrote. That's the last event guide of the year. It's crazy. I kind of can't believe it. I do have FOMO for springtime. I'm not making any promises, okay? But it's such a wonderful weekend. I think one of my favorite parts about springtime is that a lot of people, it has just such a more relaxed vibe from it. The weather is warmer. It seems like, you can go out and run and have fun, and you can also kind of just soak up what the last weekend of the year means until we all go to summer, or we all go home from school for the summer and we don't see our friends again and it's going to be later on now, kind of, counting Disneyland along with that, or that Disneyland races are going to be going bye-bye. So yeah, it's crazy. Springtime's such a special weekend. It's nice to cap with a 10 miler versus a half or marathon. It's nice to, again, just see your friends. The theming's so great. I love the Aladdin and Genie challenge. I love, obviously, 100 Acre Wood, man. Like that's what's going to get me, guys. Maybe. No. But it's so special. It reminds me of how special just Run Disney is in general. So I can't wait to hear stories about it. Regardless of whether or not I'm participating or am creating my own stories, I am very excited to hear the stories of others from the weekend. It'll be so much fun. I can't wait to see the costumes. I'm sure there are people who are going through like the deepest cuts from especially the 100 Acre Wood. I feel like people are going to go so ham on that. We've seen so many good Inside Out related costumes. Every time I see somebody dressed as the little anxiety character from Inside Out 2, it makes me chuckle, mostly because my friend KG also did that for Disneyland. So I don't know. It's going to be so great. Oh man, just to use a KG-ism. But I can't wait to see all the magic and cap off another magical race year. Well, I think that's an episode. If you enjoyed listening to the show, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. I love reading your reviews out loud. You might even be featured on a future podcast episode. There's a community spotlight on the Instagram at Stride Sisters Podcast. If you want to be featured for a Medal Monday, Finish Line Friday, or any accomplishment you want to celebrate, send a picture via the social media platforms or the email. And to continue the fun, join the Facebook page. All the ways to connect can be found in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Until the next adventure, wishing you endless miles of magic and memories. See you next time.